Okay, OTAs are just about done. There's one today. I didn't hear anything spectacular from that OTA yet. I'm still waiting for some information, so maybe I'll have an addendum tomorrow if there's anything worthwhile. But I'm going to go over some of the notes so far, and there actually has been a few very interesting points, and I'm going to get into them and cover them here. First, I'm going to say thanks for stopping by for the live. I'm getting a little bit better at it. The comments, they're on the sidebar. I found out that once you leave live, it takes a few hours for them to actually, the video goes live and you can watch it, but the sidebar comments for some reason takes time. So I didn't screw that up, but I appreciate everybody stopping by. I'm working on getting that thing better. So anyway, OTA news that I found interesting. Raekwon Davis slimmed down. That's very interesting. Eichenberg playing some center. Found that very interesting. A little tidbit on the OTA number that we're running. A little side, little thing here with Noah and Chosen doing well in practice. Going to just touch on that one quick for some fun. Cook resolution, that's going to really probably come to a head and finalize. We're going to see what's going to happen with that. That's going to be very interesting. At the end of the week, so I'll touch on that. And then Chu has been wearing a camera on his helmet, and I love that. And I'll go into why. Technology merging with the NFL, it's amazing. It really is. It's just changing the way the game is being played, and players are able to learn. And this is going to shape careers differently because of this technology, but I'll get into that. And then last, my man Terron. He's should be ready for camp. And McDaniel didn't say whether he had surgery or not. So I'm going to touch on that as well. So that's what's on the menu. I want to thank all you guys for stopping by. I appreciate all you do. There's plenty of places to go. So when you stop by here and listen to this monkey talk, I'm real grateful. So I want to give you a shout out. Shout out to Eichenberg, my sponsor. Without two of you, this show ain't going down. Eichenberg's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. Raekwon Davis was a second-round pick, and to me, what he was able to do year one, it was like a man among boys. He was 340, 6'7". I was surprised he was able to dominate in the middle like that, but his strength and size was just, he was immovable even when they doubled him. And I thought big things were coming for this kid, and I thought it was a great pick for us. And then the NFL is such a mercurial and cruel sport. He had that injury in the Patriots game where he got hit from the side and his knee got taken out. And being 6'7", it makes you just more of a target. You know, the taller you are, the more it's your chances of hitting the knee rather than the butt or the thigh. And he got hurt, and he came back to play later on that season, but he wasn't really the same. And I don't know what the ramifications of him playing on that bad knee were. But then he came back the next year, and I was like, all right, maybe he's going to bounce back. And then he got injured again. And there's been 2 seasons with him really struggling, not even a shadow of his former self that we saw in 2020. And now this is the last year. He's going to go into a contract season. It's big for him to really produce. He's going to get a job someplace. He's always going to find a job. A guy that big is going to find a job. But for him to be kept here and to continue his time in Miami, he's going to have to produce. So word was from Joe Shad that he'd slimmed down, noticeably slimmed down. And now they didn't say what his weight was, but he was about 340 last year. He'd come out. He was like about 320, I think, in preseason, and he bulked up to 340. I think those are the numbers that I saw. I'm thinking he's around 320, maybe 315, somewhere around that. And that's really good news for the knee. The less weight, trust me, I was up to almost 210, and my knees were telling me, no mas, Curtis. And now I'm down to 200. They're still saying no mas, but they're like, thanks for the reprieve. So that weight loss is definitely that knee's got to be really hurt. For 2 years in a row, and to be that big and to play on a hurt knee for 2 seasons, I don't know what the long-term damage is on that knee, but that weight loss is certainly going to help. Problem is, but I also got a hopeful side on the end of this, is he was at his best in that 0 tech to 1 tech, like over the center, in that gap, and just really dominating, sucking the guard and center up to free other guys. As he got farther and out towards the edge, towards the tackle and the 3-tech, and I think I saw him 5 maybe once or twice, he's got the speed, but he just can't change direction. I mean, he's just like, he goes this way, and it's like, it takes a year later. He's like, by the next 3 plays later, he's making the cut. And it's really hard when you get out wide if you can't change your direction. Now, inside, it's not a big deal. So the loss of the weight, to me, is a concern as far as his production. Because at 6'7", you don't have the leverage that these small guys, these centers, maybe you get one guy 6'6", a couple guys. They're 6'4", 6'5", 6'3". Guards, the same thing. And it's the leverage thing. He's working down, and it's really hard to maintain. You could do it. He's athletic, and he does drop himself, but it's a lot harder. And that extra 20 and 30 pounds makes him more of a force, an ability to kind of compensate for that lack of leverage. So I'm a little uncertain that if he gets too low in that weight to help out the knee and maybe add some agility, that he's just not going to get bullied around. Now, we got to see how it plays out, but maybe Fangio's got a way of using him. Maybe he's going to change how he's used, and he's trying to get him down to put him in certain roles where this kid can be successful. And I hope so. I think Raekwon Davis is a great kid, and I loved seeing what he did. I want this kid to get healthy again. So that's the news there. Next, Eichenberg is getting some reps at center. Now, you got Dan Feeney is the backup to Williams. Williams isn't here. He's not showing up to the OTAs. No big deal, whatever. But you got Dan Feeney, and Dan Feeney is not hot to trot. So I get how Eichenberg will get some reps there. But I think there's got to be a little bit more than that, because if you got a kid that, you spent a ton on a second and third, you're in a critical season, you want the left guard's position, having him play center, it's not terrible in OTAs. He's just getting his feeler for it. I don't see him, no matter how good he does, taking over for Williams and maybe putting Williams at left guard. Some people I say put him left guard, and it's not going to work that way. You handle the ball too much. You need lots of reps, and he's never done it before. He's always been a tackle. And so even the guard situation is a whole new frontier for him. But he is getting his feet wet. He's trying something new, and the staff is looking at him. Now, it could be a last-ditch defense to save this kid's career if he fails at guard. And I was reading an article on the Finsider, a good article. I enjoyed it. George Forder, he was doing the Miami Dolphins a right to be patient with Liam Eichenberg. I thought it was a little happy, but the information was really good, but I thought it was a little positive. He's been terrible. But the article is, does bring out a lot of great stuff. I'm only saying that because I felt like, it was a little positive. This guy has really played poorly, but he brought up a lot of good stuff, good and the bad. There was a based article on both sides. And, he talked about how Eichenberg was 75th percentile, 7.53 on a 3-cone, 4.58 in a shuttle, 33 on a bench, 33 on a bench. And so you got to be patient with this guy. But he also mentioned how he's a slimmer frame of 6'6", 305. And this is what I want to focus on. To me, I'd said last year, maybe some comments, I don't know if I did it in the podcast, I think this kid would be a better center than guard or tackle. George mentioned he has like a 32-inch arm span, and that slimmer frame, if you guys don't know, I've been working out my whole life. I'm into physiology. I study the form of the player as well as the production. There is a correlation to a certain degree. And, this is going to sound crass, but big butts and wide hips are good for football players. If you're a bodybuilder trying to go to the Olympia stage, you want small hips to have that V taper. But when you're a football player, the wider hips and the bigger butt allows you to ground yourself and be more powerful. It's not always the case. Look at Terron, but Terron's not a powerful guy. He's a nimble mover kind of guy, but he's got the long arms and he's ultra nimble, ultra smart, and he gets away with it. Now, the 33 bench, that's nice. Those are great numbers, the bench, but it's the arms and the bench, that's the final push. The stability comes from the lower section. And how narrow those hips are, how big those legs are and calves and the glutes is where the power comes from. And he doesn't have that. I don't care about the bench. It's nice as a add-on. But the short arms, the lack of power is why he can't play tackle. And it's why he struggles at guard. But at center, it would be a lot more plausible. The kid's a good kid. He's just overmatched. Now, I don't know if he's going to, take that next step physically this year or if he ever will, because I was watching in George's article. He had video too. It's a really good article. Got to check it out. And he showed the video, and you watch the video. He's doing the same thing he does now. He gets blown back. He falls on the ground. It's who he is. But at the center position, you got the big guys next to you. They're handling stuff. You're doubling. You're chipping and going. Occasionally, you got to pass, protect, mano-a-mano, depending on your skill set, depending on the scheme and the idea. But at center, I think from a physical standpoint, he has the best chance to succeed. And so Connor is going into a free agency at the end of the season. This guy plays like last year. He's getting a big, big contract. He's young. He's like 26, I think. This guy's going to get a big contract. Somebody's going to pay him. Miami's minus whatever they are, and lots of contracts they got to handle. They might be saying, hey, I got a second and third in Eichenberg. Let's see what he looks like. Not, but get him prepped, and then we can kind of make that judgment as we go. And so it could be a way to kind of, in case Connor wants too much money, to give a backdrop, a secondary option to Connor, or to kind of give this kid a lifeline. Maybe this kid excels at it. Maybe they through their evaluation say, well, okay, so we could do that. We could find ourselves a guard. We could let Connor go. We could maybe keep Hunt. And you know what I'm saying? So I understand it. And I think from what I've seen on film, his best option is to move there. I just don't see him having enough juice to handle the guard position. Anyway, next thing, we got 6 OTAs where most got 10 or something like that. Somebody had mentioned that to the coach, to McDaniel, and whatever. I mean, whatever. We have a few critical rookies, but this is mostly a savvy veteran team, so I don't really pay much attention to that. Now, Ignobbany and the Chosen have had some good practices. Ignobbany got a pick on quarterback rookie James Blackman. But Chosen, I think he's legit. This is obviously a time for the receivers to shine. But I like to see that. I got to do a podcast here because I get to be the bad guy. I show how our offensive line had troubles last year. There are ways with what the talent we've brought in and strategically and tactically to make alterations, which I do believe, and I'll get into that later podcast, through McDaniel, what he's going to do, and a couple of other things, that this offensive line can be good enough if Terron stays healthy. Terron's got to stay healthy. Terron stays healthy, and Connor. To me, it's Terron, Tua, Hill, Connor, Waddle, and Hunt. And Hunt, though, I do think that Robert Jones could come in there and spell him decently. He's, of all those guys, the guy we could breathe a sigh of relief that Jones was stepping in and not be another disaster. Everybody else, it'd be really rough on us to fill those spots. So if Terron and Connor can stay healthy and the rest of the thing we can go like this, and even if poor Hunt, goes down or whatever, he can have to put Jones in for a little bit, I'm good, So I think Chosen, though, is a big factor in this. That ability to have Hill, Waddle, and Chosen, I can do that, creates a different level of leverage. When Waddle is there, it was one type of leverage. When you brought in Hill and Waddle, is a different type of leverage. When you bring a 3-wide set and, you're not bringing the slow Joes you had last year, but you're bringing the Chosen 6'3", and still very fast, the leverage alters, and then it opens more options for strategic and tactical moves to help this offense line. But I'll get into that later. Last, Cook. The Cook resolution should be resolved by the end of the week. I don't think we're going for him. I think the A-Chain addition says no. I mean, it's possible. We're going to have a little bit of money. We have about $11 million or $12 million. I think I forgot the numbers. It's all over the place, but somewhere between $11 and $13 million. And he's going to be, 5 or 6, and maybe he comes here for that 5 or 6, and it's really like 7 or 8 because of the taxes if he'd gone someplace else. But we're going to find out if they release him. I'm not so sure they will. They have the money now, and they're trying to see what Cousins is about. Yeah, I mean, remove Cook, you're not helping Cousins. So we'll see. I think that the Chiefs, I had said in my live that Pacheco, he ran them to that Super Bowl, but he's recovering from multiple surgeries. And so multiple surgeries, and they saw what the running back did, and you can go get Cook, and you got like $51 million next year in cap relief, then he might be going there. But maybe he comes to us, and that would be exciting news. So we'll find out at the end of the week. Be very exciting. It'd be very exciting. So the last 2 parts, Tua has been operating with the technology is changing. They got a little camera on his helmet, and as he goes through practice and he's running those plays, he gets to review his where his eyes are going in real time. And anybody who's had to deal with things like this, where you have to operate in real time and you have to check yourself, is one thing looking on the camera and then trying to figure out, was he looking there? But as a coach, you can go back and watch the eyes and say, hey, and this is a big advantage. This is a huge thing for young kids, for guys trying to develop, for coaches trying to eval. And to me, you add that super quick release, you add his ability to throw into location. I mean, you need a framework on top, right? He needs to stay healthy. I got all that. But it's the cerebral side is how Tua's going to get to where Dolphins fans and he wants to go. The arm, all and the location, very critical. But the pre-snap and post-snap ability to intellectually diagnose and dissect the situation as fast as possible is going to be how he gets to the top of his craft. And this technology is a great way. You can go home and watch film now and say, oh, my eyes lingered there. And you can watch this and then it will go into your memory. It's a way of training yourself to see who you are and fix it. I love this, and I think this is great for the kid. I wish they could get some super kind of camera for the games so coaches and OCs and quarterback coaches could take that back home and study that film in the live games. I think we'll get there eventually, but that's super exciting news. I love the technological side as it integrates with the NFL. I thought this was fascinating and very hopeful for Tua. Now, my man Terron, they're not sure that he should be ready for camp. They won't commit to whether he had surgery or not. He was so beat up. If Terron, listen, all joking aside, I love this guy. I would love to meet this guy. He is a humble, smart, charismatic, tough guy with vast amount of talents who came here and is the biggest component to getting us where we went last year and will go this year. I'm doing my stats, blockers per pass, and I'm really interested to see is when he's in and when he's out, what does it change? And I think it's going to be good. I got to get that. I'm going to work on that this week at some point. Terron was so hurt, so beaten. The guts, the fortitude to do what he did last year, it must have been a painful and rough offseason for him. And I don't care if he comes back towards the end. He's got it. Just be healthy. But this is going to be very difficult for him to be healthy coming through the season after all that he's been through. If Terron goes through this season, hurt or not, and plays most of it, you've got to, as a Dolphins fan, honor this guy for his production on the field, which is going to be high, and the guts, the old style guts, to go in there and give it all for your team and for your teammates and really honor this guy. I need to do a real study, film, and number study to honor Terron. He is, whatever you say about Tua, whatever you say about any of these other guys that have been brought on, he is the guy that glues this offense and team together in so many ways. So I take your time, brother. Come back when you're ready. And I am just so humbled by your just guts and talent and cool cat character. Terron, please feel better and come back. We need you. You are the heart of this team. So that's the news up until this point. Nothing good, bad. It's just all kind of out there, and we'll see how it plays out. I like the direction. It's going to be a scrap fight, brutal gauntlet for us to get where we got to go, but I do believe we can do it. Despite whatever, this problem, that problem, there's enough here. There's enough options to kind of work through these things. Doesn't mean we're going to. We'll see how it plays out, and that's the exciting part. This is Curtis saying thanks for stopping by. Catch you next time. Be well. See you soon. Terron's the man. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.